Boeing has had a rough decade, maybe the roughest in its more than 100-year history. Once a symbol of American ingenuity and engineering excellence, the company that helped define modern air travel has spent much of the 2010s and 2020s trying to rebuild the one thing that made it great: trust. Trust from regulators who once viewed Boeing as the gold standard of safety. Trust from airlines that built their business models around its aircraft. And trust from passengers who, for decades, boarded Boeing jets without a second thought. That trust began to erode after a series of crises that would test any company's resilience. The grounding of the 737 MAX in 2019, after two tragic crashes that claimed 346 lives, was a turning point. It exposed deep flaws in Boeing's corporate culture, engineering oversight, and safety processes. Then came repeated production halts of the 787 Dreamliner, once celebrated as the future of efficient long-haul travel. Each setback piled on the next, leaving Boeing fighting not just for market share, but for its reputation as a reliable steward of aviation progress. And at the center of that fight sits one airplane, the Boeing 777X. It was supposed to be Boeing's proud comeback, a showcase of everything the company still did best. A technological masterpiece meant to redefine long-haul flight and reclaim dominance from Airbus's A350. Instead, the 777X became something very different, a test of patience, persistence, and humility. Because here's the truth: Boeing's most advanced wide-body jet won't carry paying passengers until 2027 at the earliest, 14 years after the program was first announced. And now, for many in the industry, the question isn't when the aircraft will finally fly, but whether it can still live up to the enormous expectations set for it more than a decade ago. To understand how it all began, we need to go back to 2013. At the time, Boeing seemed perfectly positioned to launch something big. The original 777, first introduced in the mid-1990s, had been a triumph: powerful, reliable, and remarkably efficient. It replaced older four-engine giants like the 747 and the Airbus A340, giving airlines the same reach with far lower fuel burn. By the early 2010s, it had become the backbone of long-haul fleets around the world. But competition was catching up fast. Airbus was preparing the A350, a sleek carbon fiber aircraft promising lighter weight, quieter operation, and much lower emissions. For the first time in decades, Boeing's dominance in the long-haul market was under serious threat. The 777X was Boeing's answer, and it looked unstoppable. Bigger, more efficient, and more advanced than any twin-engine jet before it, the aircraft would push the limits of what long-haul flying could be. At its heart were the GE9X engines, massive power plants the size of a 737 fuselage, and the most powerful commercial turbofans ever built. Each engine could produce over 105,000 pounds of thrust, yet operate quieter and cleaner than anything that came before. The wings were another leap forward, crafted from carbon fiber composites instead of aluminum, making them lighter, stronger, and more flexible. But they were also longer, too long in fact, for many airport gates. Boeing's solution was ingenious: folding wingtips that could retract while on the ground, allowing the jet to fit into the same gates as the older 777, while still stretching wide in flight for maximum efficiency. It was a first for commercial aviation, and airlines were thrilled. Orders poured in, Emirates committed to 150 aircraft, calling the 777X the backbone of its future fleet. Lufthansa became the official launch customer. Soon after came Qatar Airways, Etihad, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, and others. For Boeing, it felt like the old magic had returned. But in aerospace, momentum can disappear fast. The first 777X prototype rolled out of Boeing's Everett factory in early 2019, gleaming in silver and blue. The world watched with renewed excitement. Boeing was back. Yet, not long after that, the cracks began to show, literally and figuratively. The GE9X engines faced unexpected durability issues in high temperatures. Early tests revealed turbine blade wear, forcing redesigns and pushing back certification. Then came reports of structural concerns in parts of the fuselage. Minor flaws, perhaps, but enough to draw the full attention of the FAA. And that was just the beginning. In March 2019, the entire 737 MAX fleet was grounded worldwide. The fallout consumed Boeing's resources, engineers, funding, and management attention. The company's reputation was shaken to its core, and the 777X program was quietly pushed aside. As if that wasn't enough, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Global air travel collapsed almost overnight. Airlines deferred or canceled orders. Factories slowed to a crawl, and the world's skies fell silent. By 2021, test flights for the 777X had resumed, but progress was painfully slow. FAA scrutiny intensified, documentation requirements multiplied, and leadership within Boeing shifted yet again. Fast forward to October 2025. Boeing's new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, stood before reporters and confirmed what many already suspected. The 777X delivery schedule had slipped again. The first deliveries, originally planned for 2020, then 2024, would now not happen until 2027. There's still a mountain of work left to do, Ortberg said, acknowledging the challenges that remained. Flight testing, certification, documentation, and more. That mountain has come with a massive price tag. Analysts from Bloomberg and Airline Geeks estimate Boeing faces between $2.5 and $4 billion in additional charges due to the extended timeline. That makes the 777X one of the most expensive development programs in commercial aviation history. And the impact goes beyond dollars. Lufthansa, the launch customer, has had to adjust its entire long-haul strategy, leaning on its A350s until Boeing can finally deliver. Emirates, the largest buyer, has been vocal in its frustration. President Sir Tim Clark called the delays painfully slow, though he still believes the jet will be superb when it finally arrives. Qatar Airways, another key customer, shares that mix of cautious optimism and growing impatience. For the airlines that built their fleet plans around the 777X, every year of delay means more maintenance on older jets, higher fuel costs, and lost opportunities. Despite the delays, the 777X remains a remarkable piece of engineering. When it finally enters service, it's expected to be the most capable twin-engine jet in the sky. The larger Dash 9 version will carry more than 420 passengers and fly over 14,000 kilometers. Routes like Dubai to Los Angeles or Doha to Auckland, non-stop. The smaller Dash 8 variant, optimized for range, will go even farther, close to 17,000 kilometers, putting it in the running for the longest commercial flights in the world. Its GE9X engines are masterpieces of modern engineering. Each fan measures more than 3 meters across, but spins more quietly and efficiently than any before. The blades are made from advanced composite materials and ceramic matrix components, making them lighter, stronger, and heat-resistant. The wings, made almost entirely from carbon fiber composites, are flexible, aerodynamic, and longer than anything Boeing has ever built. In flight, they bend gracefully with the airflow, reducing drag and improving fuel efficiency. The folding wingtips, meanwhile, remain the aircraft's most eye-catching feature. rising up at the gate like the wings of a bird settling to rest. Inside, Boeing has focused on passenger comfort. Drawing from the 787 Dreamliner, the 777X cabin will feature larger windows, higher humidity, quieter engines, and softer lighting. The improved pressurization, equivalent to an altitude of 6,000 feet instead of the typical 8,000, will help reduce jet lag and fatigue. Even the cockpit has evolved. Pilots will see a familiar layout from the earlier 777, but with advanced digital systems, touchscreens, and avionics drawn from the Dreamliner. It's not just a bigger airplane, it's a better one. Still, there's no denying the timing problem. By the time Boeing's 777X enters service in 2027, Airbus will have delivered hundreds of A350s to airlines around the world. The A350 has already proven itself efficient, reliable, and beloved by passengers and airlines alike. It's economical to operate, easy to maintain, and, crucially, it's flying now. For the 777X to make a real impact, it can't simply be as good as the A350. It has to be better. Boeing is betting on payload and range. The 777-9 is larger than the A350-1000, offering more seats and more cargo capacity. For airlines operating high-density routes, think Emirates, Qatar, or British Airways, that extra capacity could make all the difference. If the new jet delivers on its promises of fuel efficiency and performance, it could reclaim Boeing's title as the long-haul leader. But if it stumbles again, Airbus will tighten its grip on the market. For Boeing, this airplane represents far more than a new product. It's a statement. After the 737 MAX crisis, the world questioned Boeing's integrity. Critics accused the company of cutting corners, prioritizing profits, and compromising safety. The 777X program has become the ultimate test of whether Boeing has truly learned its lessons. Every flight test, every certification milestone, every FAA inspection is under the microscope. Boeing knows it cannot afford another misstep, financially, reputationally, or morally, and yet, inside the company, there's cautious optimism again. Engineers speak of a renewed focus on doing things right. They know the eyes of the world are on them, and that pressure has driven a new culture of precision and accountability. Recent test data backs up that optimism. The jet's range and fuel burn are reportedly better than expected. The GE9X engines are performing reliably, and production at Boeing's Everett plant is moving steadily once more. When the first 777-9 is finally delivered, most likely to Lufthansa or Emirates, it will mark more than the arrival of a new airplane. It will symbolize survival, persistence, and a return to form after one of the hardest decades in Boeing's history. From the outside, the 777X story may look like a cautionary tale of delays and corporate struggle. But beneath that, it's something more profound. A story of endurance. Because Boeing is still here, still building, still flying, still trying. The company that launched the jet age with the 707, revolutionized long-haul travel with the 747, and redefined efficiency with the 787, hasn't forgotten how to innovate. It's just had to relearn how to do it, with humility. If the 777X succeeds, if it delivers the performance, comfort, and reliability Boeing promises, it could mark a true rebirth for the company. It could restore confidence among airlines, inspire a new generation of engineers, and prove that Boeing still belongs at the forefront of aviation technology. And if it fails, the consequences would be equally historic. Airbus would consolidate its dominance of the wide-body market, and Boeing's recovery could stall for years to come. But most in the aviation world are quietly rooting for Boeing to succeed. Because competition drives innovation, and the industry is better when its two giants are both strong. When that first 777X takes off in 2027, perhaps from Dubai, perhaps from Frankfurt, it will carry more than passengers. It will carry Boeing's hopes, the pride of thousands of engineers, and the enduring belief that human ingenuity can rise above even the roughest turbulence. Yes, the 777X is late. Yes, it's been costly. And yes, the road has been long. But when it finally climbs through the clouds, sleek wings stretching wide and engines roaring softly beneath, it won't just be Boeing flying again. It will be a symbol, a reminder that even after years of setbacks, true engineering excellence always finds its way back into the sky.